Right, to make these then we need a few bits and bobs. This is like a colour explosion, so it's more or less anything goes. I'm using the Subtles collection here, and I've got Pear Pizzazz, So Saffron, Wisteria Wonder, Soft Sky and Calypso Coral for mine. And what you'll need is you'll need 2 pieces of each colour. So it's a good idea to use up scraps for these. And then you'll also need the DSP to go on top, because you'll have 2 layers of colour and then DSP on top. It's up to you. You can have 1 layer of colour if you want and the DSP, but I just wanted to add more colour. And I'm using this Picture Perfect Party, I think it's called. And I've just chosen 5 designs that have food on them, because it's the menu cards. Then you need your little menu jars, which I'll insert a clip to show you how to make those later on. So you're going to need, for those, you're going to need the Jar of Love stamp set and the Everyday Jars frame that dies. One of these is retiring. I can't remember if it's the dies or the stamp set that's retiring. It's definitely on the discontinued list, but they're current at the moment, and I've just used the biggest die, which is bigger than that. They look smaller on the box, obviously, because that's how big it actually is. And the biggest stamp and the biggest die I've used. You're also going to need a hole punch, and you're going to need some baker's twine or ribbon or whatever you want to use, string. You're going to need some dimensionals, and you're going to need some Tombow or liquid glue of your choice. So first of all then, I'm going to show you how to make the little pennants, because what we're going to do is stack these, and it is a little bit fussy, especially if you haven't got the punch, because there is a punch that makes these shapes. I don't have it, so I'm going to show you a different way to do it. And then obviously the jar little recipe will go on the top. Then we're going to punch 2 holes and thread through some string. Okay, so let's go. Now what you need, I'm just going to tell you your sizes first of all. For your back piece of card, you want pieces of card that measure 3 by 5. If you don't want to do 2 layers, because it is a bit of a faff measuring and cutting all of these, then just do your 1 layer, as I said. For the smaller layer, you need 2 3/4 by 4 3/4, and for the DSP layer, you need 4.5 by 2.5. So we know this is 3, so the midpoint is 1.5. Need to put my ruler the other way around. Okay, and then I want to just measure up 1.5 along there as well from the bottom. Just make that midpoint, just put a dot there, and then just cut from your corner to that point there. You see, cut from your corner to that point there. So much easier if you've got this punch. You could use a die as well. So that's your bigger piece, and then your smaller piece you do exactly the same. So find your midpoint, which is 2 3/4. The width is 2 3/4, so half of that. 1 is half 2, a quarter is half the half, and then 1/8 is half the quarter. So 1 3/8 is where your midpoint is on the smaller pieces, and then just line your ruler up with that on 1.5, and that's where your midpoint is. I want to just zoom in so you can see that better. So I've gone to my midpoint, which is 1 3/8, and then I've come up 1 1/2 from the bottom there to make my little mark. And then that's where I'm going to cut. Okay, zoom out a bit more. And then if I cut there, cut from there to there, that should give me the right shape. And like I said, it's not massively important if it's not perfect. So you see, when you pop that on there, you're going to get that two-layered effect. And any markings you've done, of course, you just turn it around and use the side with no markings. Okay, so I'll just do that one more time. I'll use a smaller piece. So for the smaller one then, you want to mark across at 1 3/8. I need to change my cutting blades. Can you see how it's ripping my paper? I've got some new ones. So you want to mark across at 1 3/8. And then you just want to line your ruler up with that at 1 1/2. Get your 1 1/2 on the bottom. Just make sure your ruler's resting on that 1 3/8 mark, and then just do a dot there. And then just cut that. From corner to the centre. And like I say, if you're not very good at cutting straight, you can draw a line from corner to the centre, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think this is meant to look quite sort of funky and crazy. So now for your DSP, you want to do the same thing. So your DSP measures 2 1/2. So your halfway point is 1 1/4. So just put a dot on 1 1/4, and then do your 1 1/2 again. Do a dot. And you can just mark all these out at the same time and then cut them out in one go. Just a little bit off that. And then that will go over the top like so. And then I just find that you just need to trim. I just need to trim a little bit. If you want it to be flush to the top, then it's fine. If you want it to come down a little bit, then let it come down a little bit. But what you do want to do is, with your DSP, is what I didn't do with this one, was do it on the reverse, so that if you do end up with a little pen mark, you can't see it. So I'm just going to do another DSP. So I'll do it on the reverse. And it's 1 and 1 1/4, and then we're going up to 1 1/2. Line that up with that. Make a little mark, and then just cut it out. Will feel a bit steeper with your DSP because it is steeper, and then that will fit over the top of that layer. Okay, and you can change your colours around once you've got them all cut out. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the rest out. And then I'll be back to finish off. there we are. I'm going to zoom out a little bit now. So now you can assemble these. These are your big, if you get your big pieces. Gluing these together, I'll just insert here a quick sort of cutaway clip of how to make the jars. Okay, so enjoy that while I'm doing this. So what I did was I made little text boxes. I don't know if you can see this, little recipes printed out. I made little text boxes on a Word document, or a PowerPoint document actually, and I just made them, I wanted them to fit inside here, and I think they all do, and I just made them sort of 2 inches by 1 inch really, and then I just put really sort of short abbreviated versions of the recipes in, but enough for somebody to be able to make it. And I'm taking this stamp and I'm taking this framelit, and I just printed that. I'm just going to take this block. My blocks really need cleaning, they're all funny pink colour now, and I'm just going to stamp around that recipe. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm using these colours, so for my bunting, so I'm going to use the same colours or similar colours for inking up each recipe. And there we go. So then I'm going to cut these out with a die cut. They'll go on to the bunting. So that'll be really lovely. Right, now, before I put the jars on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch my crocodile, and you could add eyelets. I would add eyelets normally, but I'm not going to because it's just a faff in terms of time. So you can either put one in and hang them like that, or you can put 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line the top edge up with the top edge of my crocodile here, and then because it measures 3, I'm going to put them in. I'm using my 3/16 hole, and what I'm going to do is 1/2 inch from the edge, and I'm going to turn it round, line it up with the edge there. Okay, 1/2 inch from the edge. Once you've measured that, once you put that in, it's in. And then there you go, get rid of all your little bits and bobs. And now what you do is you'd thread your yarn through there. But before I do that, I'm going to get some dimensionals. And I'm going to pop the little recipe jars on. Decide which colours I'm going to use. Don't think it really matters. I'm just going to use a plastic embroidery needle. Just check that it'll go through your hole. Just thread that up. Which is probably going to be easier said than done. Just use any twine or yarn for this. This is a Stampin' Up! Retired one, I think. This is Blushing Bride. Put your first one on your piece, go through from the back, and then just go through from the back of each one. Then I'm just going to make a loop on the end here, make a nice generous loop. Just for hanging. And if you're gifting it, it's always better to give a bit too much string than not enough, because if you don't have enough, then it's not going to be annoying. Most people can cut off what they don't want, so give plenty of string. And how cute is that? I know there's a bit of a faff, but if you have the pennant punch, then you're not going to have that faff. Or if you wanted to just measure one and use it as a template, and then use a guillotine to do it with. But that's so lovely. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little gift box. So if we want a gift box to be 3.5 by 5.5, and we need it to be how deep? We need it to be 1 inch deep. So let me just, I'm going to use the same colours hopefully. 3.5, so I'm just going to work this out. So it's going to be quite a shallow gift box like this. 5.5. Sorry, the bib men are coming. And then 1 inch deep. And then we'll put a lid on it. So it just needs to be 1, 2, 5.5. So we need a piece of cardstock that's 5.5 for that side. 5.5, 6, 7.5. 7.5 by 5.5, scored 1 inch on each side, and then we need, we'll have the same for the lid. Okay, because the lid will naturally be just a tad shorter. So 7.5 by 5.5, let's just see what we've got here. Yeah, I'm just going to grab the first colour that I pick up for the box and the first colour that I pick up for the lid, and it just so happens that it's this one. So 7.5 by 5.5. And then we need the same for the lid. I'm going to go with this. By 5.5 for the lid, and then we're just going to score it 1 inch around. Make this the bottom. So just score it at 1 inch all the way around. Sorry about the noise of the bin truck outside. And then for the lid, just pull it off by 1/8 of an inch. Not only will that make sure your lid fits, but it'll also make sure that you've got a little bit of gap between the lid and the box. You know, at the sides, you lift the lid off. I'm going to stick something on the top of the lid actually. That's the lid, isn't it? Did I say that was the lid? Yeah, that's the lid. Yeah, I'm going to put that on there, which is 3.5 by 5 1/4. Try and incorporate as many of the colours as I can into it. So that's 3.5, and we're going to go by 5 1/4. Perfect. And then I'm going to just take one of the papers that we've used. Take that one, and we'll make that 3 1/4 by 5. That will make it a bit narrower. Make it 3 by 5. Hadn't planned this, so this is an afterthought. 3 by 5, and then what colour haven't we used yet? Oh, I'm going to use green instead of this. So I just want a 3 by 2 piece of that wild wasabi. I might even make it a 4 by 2 piece. So 4 by 2. And then the blue, I'll make it 1 7/8 by 'There we go. I'm going to put that in the tactile punch. I'm just going to stick a sentiment on that I happen to have right next to me, which is happy birthday. And it's quite a big, oops, hiccups. That'll do. I'm not bothered that it's not perfect because I don't care. So that's a little label for it. Now I'm just going to make the box. Bunting fits nicely in there, and then, oops, the lid goes on the top. Hopefully that's what we're talking about. There you go. I mean, if you wanted to just, sometimes I like to just keep my labels in check. It's not going to stop the box from opening. Let's just pop a dimensional on. And there you have it. Gorgeous. Let's just zoom you in a little bit. There you have it. Beautiful box with all those lovely colours on it, and then that lovely bunting inside. So I hope you enjoyed that project. It was fun to make. I just loved it, and it's useful as well, which is makes it even better. So happy crafting, and was that my last one? I'm not sure if that's my last one of this sort of series of use the new papers on use new products. Might be. If not, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. Okay, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.